You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
The Tourism Enhancement Fund continues to play a fundamental role in the advancement of the tourism product of Jamaica. And in March 2017, the Tourism Enhancement Fund hosted its staff awards and launched its 10th anniversary commemorative book. And BATV has all the highlights, so don't go anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time I'd like to welcome our chairman of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, Mr. Godfrey Dyer.
It was 2004. I was then president of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association. And I got a call from the then minister, Minister Samba, who asked me to come in and see her. I went in, and she said, "Godfrey, I need your help. I cannot find a way to finance the tourism master plan, and we need to develop something to finance the plan." Out of the discussion, we decided to have a brainstorm with members of the JHTA. And members were called together. We had a discussion, and out of that discussion, one of two of the bigger hoteliers in Jamaica came up with the idea. He reminded us that when the $1,000 for departure tax was introduced, the equivalent in US was then 30 US. Yes, 30 US, 1,000 J. By then in 2004, it was 16 US. And he said, you know, if we put back 10 US to establish the fund, it was still below the 30 US that we started from. That was where it started. However, one of the two leading hoteliers, well, both of the two leading hoteliers, after that meeting said they're not supporting it. And I started lobbying. I lobbied the industry, and JHTA majority said yes. But the two leading members, who you need to have at least one of them. And they said, no, we're not supporting it. It was November at World Travel Market in London in 2004. When I looked across at one of the booths, I saw one of these men. And I went over to him and started talking to him and said, look, man, you have to cooperate. You have to work with us. Let us start it. And I started showing him the positive side of it. And he got fed up with me and said, okay, Godfrey, I'll do it. I'll do it. Immediately, I saw Minister Samba walking up. I said, come here, Minister. He says, yes. She said, what? She grabbed him, she hugged him. And when she hug and shake, you are well shaken. and said, thank you, sir. I nearly called his name. Thank you. Thank you. And by 2005, TF was started.
You never climb a mountain on accident. It has to be intentional. And so it was with the establishment of the Tourism Enhancement Fund. It was indeed intentional, and it has been a blessing, I believe, to the tourism industry here in Jamaica. So thank you, Mr. Dyer, for welcoming us all, and thank you for the role that you played in its inception. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite to the podium at this time our Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism. I'd like for you to make her welcome. She's Mrs. Jennifer Griffith.
The authority to establish the Tourism Enhancement Fund came through an Act of Parliament, and the Act is dated December 2004, as Mr. Godfrey Dyer told you before. But before the Act came into being, there were years, in fact, of hard work leading to that point. You told the story well from 2004. But the journey started with the development of the Tourism Master Plan, the Master Plan for Sustainable Tourism Development in Jamaica. And Carol Guntley across there can tell you about her many, well, actually years in the field, first trying to convince the tourism sector that we do need a tourism master plan, and then to convince the sector that the plan will need to be funded if it is to be implemented, because the money was not going to come from the central coffers. And so, Mr. Dyer, by the time Alun called you, we had done quite a bit of research, quite a bit of discussion and debate. We had gone to cabinet a number of times to make our case to different prime ministers. And there's a thing about stick-to-itiveness, and thankfully the plan came into being, and then the fund came into being, the act came into being, then the fund, and then we established the statutory body that we now fondly call TEF. And so it's a bit more than 10 years old, but sufficient to the day. It is a wonderful moment. And we can proudly say, look at us now. The Tourism Enhancement Fund has delivered quite a lot over the years, and it will continue to play a pivotal role in the development of the tourism product in Jamaica and, of course, brand Jamaica overall.
On behalf of Mr. Peter Cerda, our Regional Vice President for the Americas, and Ms. Annalyn Bob, our Area Manager for the Caribbean, I would like to congratulate you on the launching of the 10th anniversary commemorative book. The International Air Transport Association, IATA, is a trade association of the world's airlines, representing some 265 airlines, or 83% of the total global air traffic. We support many areas of aviation and help formulate industry policy on critical aviation issues. Our regional office for the Americas and the local office for the Caribbean are based in Miami, Florida. As our mission statement reads, we represent, lead, and serve the airline industry. And for this reason, we feel honored to collaborate with key stakeholders like the Tourism Enhancement Fund, like the Ministry of Tourism and the aviation industry in general, to support travel and tourism in Jamaica. The impact of air travel services is grounded in reality. It gives small businesses, such as bars, restaurants, shops, and family-run hotels, the tools to thrive. It gives individuals a job and the means to pay their bills. So it's not only about money either. In an increasingly globalized world, air connectivity enables friends and family to hug each other. It enables ideas and understanding to be exchanged between cultures. It is a social glue. We certainly hope to keep counting with your support as we continue highlighting aviation's economic value by being a catalyst for economic growth, and at the same time, fighting the many challenges that our industry nowadays face. At IATA, we're fully committed to collaborating with all industry stakeholders to foster and develop a profitable and sustainable aviation sector that facilitates the growth of tourism and thereby leading to vibrant and healthy economies. I would like to take the advantage of this opportunity and thank the Ministry of Tourism of Jamaica, who has always been very, very collaborative to us and to our members. And for the warm welcome you have given me tonight, thank you very much.
For and you will see that there's a land far away.
Our Honourable Minister of Tourism, ladies and gentlemen, the Honourable Edmund Bartlett. Put your hands together for him.
The staff of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, for whom this evening is dedicated, I want to firstly commend, because you have made the Tourism Enhancement Fund one of the strongest funds in the public sector today. You don't have to clap yourself, but I believe those who are not there can. Because several funds have been depleted over time. Some funds are strong, some are not so strong. Some have been managed well, and some have been managed extremely well. And I'm here to say that the Tourism Enhancement Fund has been managed extremely well. So much so that we have maintained a prudential reserve of in excess of 2 billion Jamaican dollars over the last 5 years. And that is after the fund, since its inception, has disbursed in excess of $30 billion in the economy of Jamaica, and have provided developmental assistance and community enhancement and resort development across almost every major town in this country, and certainly every parish in Jamaica. But the fund has been able to accrete because of the growth that we have had in the industry over the years. And at another time I will talk about that growth and what it represents. But tonight I want to speak a little bit about the proceeds from that growth and how we are going to use that to make sure there's more growth. And so the efficiency of a small staff, the conscientiousness of those workers, the assiduity of the workers, and the commitment that they have shown to their task, and the extent to which they have been able to manage the funds, not only that from an accounting perspective, it meets the standards and enables, in fact, the TEF to be one of the few public bodies that is fully current in its annual reporting. And that's worth clapping, because when you know the record of public bodies and their annual reports into the Parliament of the land, you will recognize that to be current is really to be creme de la creme. And so the Tourism Enhancement Fund, its accounts are current. So this management has enabled us to put the footprints of tourism in every area of development in Jamaica today. In Montego Bay, much of the development in Montego Bay in terms of the city itself, in terms of the communication within the city, transport management, security, community development, the civic center, the Western Art Gallery, the park, the hip strip, the elegant corridor, the drainage, the craft centers, the craft markets. Think of any activity in Montego Bay and the footprints of the Tourism Enhancement Fund is there. Go to Falmouth, the restoration of Falmouth, the development now of the seascape and indeed the streetscapes. The proposed building of the artisan villages, the renewal of the entire town of Falmouth, the footprints of the Tourism Enhancement Fund is there. Go to Ocho-Rios, the development of the promenade, the Turtle River Trail, the One Love Trail, the experience on the terminal of the cruise port, the refurbishing of the vendors market and the craft markets. All, indeed, the restoration of the Fern Gully Road, and this is a huge area that Tourism Enhancement Fund contributed to. And I can't forget those heavy rains that you had that caused massive floods in Ocho-Rios. And the Tourism Enhancement Fund collaborated with the NWA, and that problem is solved today. The building out of conservatory activities for sustainable development of the environment, the Blue and Jonkro Mountain becoming a World Heritage Site, the footprints of the Tourism Enhancement Fund is there. The National Heritage Heroes Circle, its rehabilitation, the footprints of the Tourism Enhancement Fund is there. This fund has been so ubiquitous. It has impacted all the areas of public life. And it's a fund in whom we are well pleased, and I thank you, the workers and the staff of the Tourism Enhancement Fund today. The fund was born out of a plan, a master plan for tourism development, which recognized the role of the private sector and the public sector in building out the institution and material elements required to build the experiences that the visitors want. And for the fund to grow, it meant that the partnership between the private sector and the public sector had to be there. And so the JHTA was a key partner. And I want to commend them this evening, and I want it to be recorded, that without that private sector partnership, it could not have happened. IATA, as an international partner, is being cited this evening for special commendation. Because when we needed to find a vehicle to enable the collection of the funds, recognizing the difficulties we were having with an Air Jamaica that was a little out of line, you came and accepted the responsibility. But you didn't accept it on the basis only of the need to be a collector. You accepted the responsibility on the basis of the integrity of the purpose of the fund, and that it would be used extensively and totally for the enhancement of the tourism product. The public sector has had to make 2 adjustments to the statute in relation to the fund since its inception. And one I had a responsibility to pilot and to guide. And that was to seek an amendment to the Act which will allow for us to increase the rate per passenger from $10 to $20. That took a little time and a little effort, and the expending of a little political capital. But we did it, and as a result today, last year, the fund brought in nearly $6 billion, and we are projecting nearly $6.5 billion in the year 2017. The other partner that we have been a little silent on, that we need to make a point about, our cruise partners. Because the fund recognizes that tourism is divided into 2 discrete segments: stopover, or land-based as we call it, and cruise, or the marine side. And cruise tourism for Jamaica over the years has been something of the Cinderella of the industry. But in the last 5 years, cruise has taken off and has had a new lease on life with the advent of the Falmouth port development, which has made Jamaica the largest port of call in the Caribbean today.
We're going to do this after 3. 1, 2, 3. All right.
And that brings us to the end of our coverage of the TEF Staff Awards and Dinner. Until next time, thanks for tuning in to Business Access TV, serious about business.